And now, What's the
name of the show, Larry? It's on your mug.
Things I Found Online with Louise Palanker, Joe Cipriano, Larry Morgan. How's it go?
And then we're exploring the internet.
Yeah, Radio Legends. Oh, my God.
Yay!
Bobby is leaving the room.
No, it's like Gene the Dancing Machine. Why was that guy even on the Gong Show? He's like worse than that guy.
Yeah, I know.
And Bobby Slayton, a special guest.
We're getting to that, Bobby. We're getting to that.
I'll let you fuck it
Our
up.
guest is Bobby Slayton. Our guest co-host is Kirk Rudell from television.
Yes.
And we're here to talk about the internet and all things that we learn.
Yeah.
I learned a lot on the, like, how much of what you know have you learned on the internet, would you say?
You know, can I start the things? This
Sure.
is Bobby Slayton, Pitbull of Comedy, and I'll be at the South Point Casino Super Bowl weekend. Okay, I had to get the plug-in. I'm not getting paid for this, so let me get a plug-in. Okay, you know what I've learned, and everybody, the greatest thing about the internet, and people bitch about the internet, people bitch about television, but the greatest thing is that you always think about, it's like cell phones. You know, you bitch about it and go, how do I live without this? You know, like they had dictionaries. I just threw out a dictionary. And I hated to throw out the dictionary, but what the fuck you need a dictionary for? Because you go on the internet, and how many times have you looked up song lyrics, you know, what words mean? How many times, I mean, you're a writer. I mean, I'm writing a book, and how many times do you look up stuff? You get quotes, the internet. And when eBay came around, I went to the poorhouse. It destroyed me, eBay.
You know what the word is, Bobby? Indispensable.
Indispensable.
The
That's
internet
the word.
is indispensable.
I'm not sure what that means. Let me look it up on the internet. Let me find a synonym or an antonym.
If you hold it down, the dictionary will pop up on your
it's
Kindle.
mind-boggling.
I want to know what made you broke on the eBay. What were you buying?
You should see his house. He buys things.
No, I don't anymore. Here's a great story. So I'm a big horror movie fan. And years ago on Melrose Avenue, there was a store called Off the Wall Antiques. I don't know if you remember that store.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But if you go by there, they would have the most. There was a car from Coney Island. There was a Lou Costello's desk. There was all kinds of this eclectic, crazy, wacky stuff. And I always liked monsters. And so I'm playing a club up in Chico, California. Maybe we're going to go back 35 years ago before I got married. And the money out of my wallet, $1,500, somebody stole from me. I had no money. I had to borrow money from somebody. To make a long story even longer, I go home with no money. I'm driving down Melrose Avenue, and there's a creature from the Black Lagoon, a rare prototype model, 6 foot tall. And I go, I have to have that. And I couldn't pay my rent that month, but I knew if I didn't get this creature now, I had to have this thing, and I bought it. Okay. So I told this story on the radio over the years, and then I would buy these little creature toys. You know, they have little premiums from cereal boxes and little wind-up creatures that shoot out sparks. So I had a little wall with about 5 creature things, and I'm telling some comedian this, and he goes, have you ever heard of eBay? And this is when eBay was at its infancy. I go, no, what is eBay? He goes, you can go on eBay and find anything.
It's like crack.
And I went on eBay, and I looked up Creature from the Black Lagoon, and there were Aurora models, and blow-up dolls, and statues. And I go, I have to have this. I have to have this. And then when people would outbid me, you go, you motherfucking cocksucker. I mean, you die. And I would sit up all night before there was auction stealer, and I'd buy more creature stuff. And there was walls full of shit. Then I got married, and my daughter wanted to eat and go to private school. I said, fuck you. I got to buy more creatures. So I guess I bought creature. I had creature coloring books and things. And my anniversary, my wife couldn't get anything because I needed creature shit. And then I said, this is getting ridiculous. I had 2 rooms. Yeah, I'll show you my house after the show. I still have a few choice pieces I saved. But eBay destroyed my life for a little while. It was like crack.
By way of full disclosure, Bobby lives across the street from me.
That's the only reason I did the show. I was telling, I don't want to do this stupid show, but I figured I'm across. How can I say no? Because what am I going to say? I'm not home. The electrician's coming over. She can look out the window and go, there's nobody there. He's in the kitchen. Yes.
And he's
trapped.
He's ducking for the next year.
This is how she gets most of her guests.
I go up and down the street.
Yeah, it's just neighbors.
Yeah. Paul Abdul, you're next.
So that's how eBay, but I'm okay now.
I like the idea that you couldn't pay your rent, but you could get in any carpool lane you wanted.
Yes,
for a while with a 6-foot creature next to you in the passenger seat.
Life-size creature.
When I got married and my wife moved in with me, she had a little Volkswagen Rabbit, and so she had to put the creature in the front seat, you know, and.
Yeah, he needed to be belted in for safety.
Yeah, I actually did. Yeah.
So we're gonna Google Bobby because he's our guest. Let's Google Bobby. He's very famous. So he comes up with on the right side the picture, and it says,
I never look at this shit ever.
I was
So-
going to ask you if you've ever done this.
I've
Googled yourself.
We
Of
almost.
course.
We,
Every day. I'll tell you, folks,
So-
till I Google.
How much of this, is, Bobby? How much of this is true? Robert Michael Slayton is an American actor, voice actor, and stand-up comedian, sometimes referred to as the pit bull of comedy. Now, is this true? Under genre, you are listed as ribaldry.
I don't know what that means. Have somebody from the Renaissance Fair.
It's like, who else is in this category? Can you click on
If only
ribaldry?
the internet was
I want to
around
know
to
who
look
else
it
is
up.
listed under ribaldry.
Yeah.
Oh,
I never saw that before. I don't need to know people use that word anymore. That's like George
it's
and
an
Jessel from
old-timey
the
word.
30s.
Yeah.
It says ribaldry or blue comedy is humorous
okay.
entertainment that ranges from bordering on indelicacy
Indelicacy.
to gross indecency.
Okay.
Okay, well, that is you.
Well, that's totally you.
Yeah.
So,
And I never found my act to be blue. It's just brutally honest. Everybody could use a 4-letter word. It's blue. And you're talking about, genitalia, always blue.
I hope if you're watching at home, you know that New York Daily News called Bobby armed and dangerous, and the Las Vegas Review-Journal pointed out that Slayton's refusal to compromise his art has always made
My
him
art.
worth a
Art.
special
I
trip.
love that. I love when they're the artist. You know what? I'm a stand-up comic. You're a writer. You're just, I don't know what
But
you
if you
do.
recognize Bobby, he's been in Ed Wood, Get Shorty, Bandits, Dreamgirls, Woody Allen's new Amazon TV project Crisis in 6 Scenes,
And his new movie, but I'm not an actor.
and a new movie. But you are a good actor. He played Joey Bishop in the Rat Pack movie.
That was a big stretch for me. Joey Bishop, when I played Joey Bishop, it was the first time I had to play a real person. And I said, and I got these thoughts of Robert De Niro as a raging bull and Jake LaMotta, and he puts on weight, learns how to box. And I'm thinking of Meryl Streep. She learns an accent, plays violin. I'm going to become Joey Bishop. And I said to my wife, I'm going to the American, the television museum, and I'm going to sit there with a sandwich, and I'm going to study Joey Bishop. And after 15 minutes, I go, he's a fucking 5'9" Jew who talks like this. He what do I have to do?
I got it. That was it.
I got it.
That was
I
it.
swear, 20 minutes. So I slowed down. They cut my hair. I put on a sharkskin suit. But you were so amazing. I became Joey Bishop.
You transformed. You immersed yourself, Bobby.
Yeah.
All right, so Bobby, we're going to take a look at your stand-up. We're going to take a look at what is so
I thought the show
controversial.
was going to be about me. I thought
No,
it was
because
just gonna...
what I want to say to you about this clip that I'm about to play is it begs the question, did you write the shithole comment for Trump? Because this
What?
clip came, this
can't wait
clip
to see
comes in
this.
2007. It's part of your act. You know what you're doing. I think you've influenced the current president of the United States. Do you guys have...
when you come back from this clip,
Yeah, do you guys have the
I
clip?
will tell you. Okay, I can tell you a great
He's
story.
incredible. Ladies and gentlemen, Bobby Slayton.
That was Robin Williams, for those of you playing here.
Oh, look at me.
Thank you, my friend.
So handsome.
I'd like to sit and shout
It's
with
like
you.
Joey
I'm a little
Bishop.
busy right now. Now listen, before I go on, I'm not a racist guy. I'm not apologizing for what I'm saying, but I live in L.A. I live in the Mexican part of L.A. It's called L.A. And you know what, Cito? Look, and again, it's a comedy, we're doing a comedy show. It's not a soapbox. I understand we're here to raise money for people. But you know what amazes me? When people come to our country, and you look at a lot of minorities, people come from these horrible third world countries like Mexico and Guatemala and Haiti and Cuba. I understand why they come here. These are dirty, filthy, disgusting countries. And you would think with all the fucking cleaning women that come out of there. What? You would think that if each one of them picked up one piece of shit on the way over the fence, that it would be a very nice area. You would think that, you white guilty liberals. You would think that. What I'm saying is, and I want to make a point here. Look, we're trying to raise money for the homeless. There are people in this country that can't feed their families. There are people in this country that can't clothe their children. What bothers me to no end is when people come to America and they expect something from America. They have no skills, they don't speak the language, and they come here expecting a piece of the American dream, which Americans can't even get. I'll tell you why I bring this up. 2 days ago, I'm in Miami, and I get off a plane. And this Haitian cab driver is driving me to my hotel, and the guy's got an attitude, because he's from Haiti, and he doesn't want to drive a cab in America. And very nicely, I said to the guy, well, you're from Haiti. What do you want to do here? The guy says to me, in Haiti, I was a doctor. I said, fucking Haiti, I could be a doctor. What does it take to be a doctor in Haiti? What do you need, a chicken foot and a Band-Aid? Buddha, Buddha, Buddha. I'm a doctor. Oh, shut up, voodoo man, and take me to my fucking hotel.
That's great. That was great. And I still, you know what? If Trump would have said it like that, instead of pretending that he didn't say it, and under his breath, those Republican Nazis say he never said that, that was great. I still, yeah. You know what? I should have voted for the guy. Yeah, I do agree with
That's
that.
not what we were trying to get out of it, Bobby.
No, but no.
Also,
I'm not,
by the way, a timeless stand-up comedian outfit.
well, I would
That's just I love, like, it's just the jacket and the T-shirt. It's a perfect.
I was the first one to do that. I was the first one to wear the skinny tie. I was the first guy.
Paula Poundstone beat you to that.
Yeah, I know.
So
she got it. She'd be my opening act. She got it from me.
So, Bobby, you were being very, very politically incorrect your entire career long.
Yeah.
And then lately, we seem to kind of float in and out of these periods of time where it's considered culturally unacceptable, to point out the differences between certain cultures or certain communities. And especially now in sort of the recoil from Trumpism, it's maybe not so popular to say the things that you say in your act. Have you adjusted, or do you just go, screw it, I'm going to be even more of a jerk?
It's become very bizarre. When I started doing stand-up, I was 21 years old, and I was living in San Francisco, and I did a couple of gay jokes, and people went ballistic because I remember there was a gay comedy night at some club, and there was a gay this, and there was, you go to Oakland, there was a black comedy night, and and it was okay for them to make fun of whitey and gay people to make fun of straight people, but if you made jokes about them, they get very upset. And it wasn't like faggot jokes or nigger jokes. You said the people with the N-word. It wasn't horrible racist stuff. It was poking fun at people. Maybe a little bit more than Don Rickles did. But, don't tell me you can make fun of me and I can't make fun of you. And then they get really pissed. So I just dig in even deeper, because it's comedy.
But have you heard of the power dynamic?
Huh?
The power dynamic dictates that.
Oh, my God. Where's Harvey Weinstein when you need him? Shut this broad up.
Whatever the population is that's in power is not supposed to poke fun at people that are.
Right. But I was not in power. I was a comic who's not a powerful person, and I'm a Jew who's not a powerful person, and I was a single guy that wasn't getting laid. I'm not a powerful person. Obviously, because you're a white guy. And by the way, I'm not sticking up for all this. It's horrible what's going on for women now. I understand, and I get it. I kind of feel left out that of all the sexual harassment I've done, nobody's giving me any shit. I kind of feel in a way left out a bit. But, at the same time, it bothers me. Me too? You too?
Yeah. I'm right there with you.
Me too.
Yeah.
It bothers you too. I'm starting a new movement. How many guys? Does it bother you? You too? Good.
It bothers me too. Is that the hashtag?
But does it make what you do more popular or more controversial, or does it change anything?
I think it's tougher now because people are so uptight. I think, and everybody's heard about this, and maybe you guys, can chime in, but not too much. I want to make this about me. Yeah. But
no, that you've made that clear.
Yeah, okay. That's why I keep talking. No, but I think that now you got this millennial. Remember about 8 months ago, it was Chris Rock and Jerry Seinfeld saying they never play colleges anymore because these kids now are all of a sudden appropriating all this anger when they have nothing to be angry about. They're just taking on everybody else's anger, and and it's great. They're taking on the black anger, the women's anger, and they don't even know what they're angry about, these millennial little shits. So, I went to the Comedy Store the other night for the first time in months and months and months. And I went on and just ripped them a new asshole. I think for a lot of them it was refreshing. But I saw a couple of people were appalled, which is great. I don't care. And you sent me a thing that I didn't see, these fucking uptight dykes. You can't even say the word dyke. I didn't even know that dyke was up there with the N-word and the C-word and the word faggot and then retard and then midget. I don't know what's bad anymore. But these two dykes, I was kicked off Facebook for 2 days for using that word. But these angry lesbians, and I say that like there's any other kind, they went on. I was at the Punchline in San Francisco a few months ago. They were sitting up front. They hated the two acts before me, who were very not aggressive, very not offensive. They were just guys being guys and doing their act. And when I got up there, I said something, and they went ballistic, threw their drinks at me, smashed the table.
Whoa.
And then they went on that link you showed me, that the Bobby Slayton opened the show with rape jokes. I've never done a rape joke in my life. So I don't know what they heard and what they saw. I think I might have said something about Harvey Weinstein and Dustin Hoffman, and I kind of feel left out. Whatever. It wasn't a rape joke, but this woman had been raped. I can't worry about what everybody else has gone through. I do a joke about, children. Well, my child's dead. My child's autistic. And this, I can't use the word retard. I can't worry about everybody in the fucking audience.
So let me ask you this. Is this the bar? If it's funny, it's fair?
I've always felt that way. I was always with people as comics. What jokes can't you do? You can do anything. Sarah Silverman did a rape joke, AIDS jokes, Holocaust jokes. It's not necessarily making fun of how many Jews can you get in an oven, but if you want to hear a great Holocaust joke, listen to Gilbert Gottfried. He's done some great ones. Hitler's funny.
Well, do you feel like, I mean, you've been doing this long enough. Do you think this is the most sensitive you've seen
Yes.
people, or does it
Yes.
go? Has it gone in cycles?
You would think it would get better now, wouldn't you? Because the world's so fucked up. Wouldn't you guys think that people would go, what am I going to get mad at this comic for? What am I going to get mad at even Trump for saying something stupid? He's an idiot. When there's people getting blown up, in the London subway,
Right.
and Trump says something stupid, okay, he's an idiot. We know that. But people, and then you're going to get mad at a comic, really?
Right.
And people go on Yelp and got a picture about it. I saw Yelp. I don't even know why I looked at it. I'll never do it again. But I was going to a restaurant in New York, and for the hell of it, I went on Yelp, and some idiot, probably millennial little bitch, goes, the pasta was horrible. It was black. It was squidding pasta. Why was the pasta black? And people anybody could post anything they want, and other idiots read this shit. But that whole internet troll thing, these fucking morons have nothing better to do
But
with
we
their
are.
time.
But the culture now is like, it's funny. Like, we are a review culture.
right.
Yeah.
Everyone is constantly in the process
Of reviewing shit.
reviewing what is going on
Right.
in their life. Because
Literally
you
in the moment.
Yeah.
It's not even like after the fact and
Yeah.
having it's
whether
as instantly.
That's right. And whether you choose Instagram or Twitter or Yelp or TripAdvisor, we are constantly judging and reviewing for whatever audience we
Absolutely.
think we have what we're doing in our lives.
I just did that. I was going to Europe with my girlfriend in the spring, and I'm trying to book a room, and I'm looking at all the guidebooks, and then I went on TripAdvisor, and and it's okay to, if you're going to get one shitty review, but I'm looking at some Ritz-Carlton or some 5-star hotel, and 99% of the people said it was good to great, and then 1 point zillionth of a point, it's terrible. There's going to be somebody that doesn't like.
And I love those reviews because they always start by telling you how many fine places they've stayed in their life, and they want to give you a little window into the rarefied world that they live in. It's like you're writing on TripAdvisor right now.
Or they started out with, I had a really shitty day, so it might be coloring my review. It's like, well, don't write one then if you know that.
You know what? And I try not to read this crap.
Yeah.
But if you come to my show and there's been people that and I'll go on and once in a while read the reviews. This guy wasn't funny. And then I remember, God, that was one of the best shows I've ever done. I got a standing ovation. Say I didn't find him funny.
Right.
I don't know why anybody finds this asshole funny. I think this guy's a piece of shit and should die. But don't say he's not funny, because everybody else in the room was laughing except for you and your angry dyke girlfriend.
Okay,
Thank
so,
you.
Bobby.
I should run for
Bobby,
something. I should write for Trump.
Bobby.
That was a great idea, Weezy.
I'm gonna agree that word is not okay.
Dyke.
Okay, but you can say it. That's your choice. But this is Aubrey Blanche's blog post.
This is what I'm talking about.
And we're
Why
gonna
are you giving her any credibility?
because
Okay.
I think this is interesting. So because here's the thing: you're the guy on stage with a microphone.
Right.
That makes you the more powerful person in this dynamic. Between you and Aubrey, you win. So what she does to take her power back is she goes home and she does her blog post.
Tries to take it back.
Yeah, exactly, because we all want to feel that our voice or our feelings matter.
Right.
So Aubrey wrote, let me be clear. I am a rape survivor. Jokes poking fun at rape victims are not funny. They are the mark of a comedian too stupid or cowardly to poke fun at the powerful. I don't think you'd have a problem poking fun at the powerful.
No.
Predictably, both myself and my wife didn't laugh. We folded our arms, but that was far too much for him. Immediately, he turned to her. Look at this dyke. She didn't even laugh. Now, if you've ever met my wife, she's smart, funny, and deeply uncomfortable with being the center of attention. But she would have suffered a few cracks thrown her way at a comedy show. But being addressed with a hateful slur, she was red and shaking. Her response, fuck off. He continued to call her a dyke and make homophobic jokes. I yelled, stop, that's my wife, to which he responded with transphobic jokes. Do you even know what that means?
No.
Okay.
Transphobic?
That's making fun of
trans. I think that's when I turned into some amphibious creature.
When I set my glass down, it cracked. So she all right. So it goes on, and then but here's the best part, you guys. If you didn't find this entertaining, Bobby's response, which is I guess what got him kicked off of Facebook, is just a couple of pissed off dykes, just like the old days at the other cafe. Maybe they were rejected by Harvey Weinstein years ago. Who knows?
Right.
So the way you respond to these ladies is to further insult them.
Well, they can't hate me anymore.
But you could have said, I'm sorry you took things.
I'm not sorry.
So you never apologized for any.
Absolutely not. No, I've made mistakes on stage. I've done more shows than a billion shows, and I've gone over the line, and I've said things that I shouldn't have said. But that's what happens when you're a comic. But And it's not even worth getting into. Those women were there for 5 minutes. And when they said he didn't go after the powerful, I did a half an hour on Trump and those horrible Republicans and white men. They weren't there for it. They were there for 5 minutes. They threw a drink at me. And all I said to them was, hey, we got a couple of gay guys, a couple of Chinese people. We got old people, young people, a couple of dykes over here. And again, and then all she said was, she doesn't remember because she's a lunatic. She said, how could you call my wife a dyke? And I said, well, with the haircut, I thought that she would have been the husband. You would have been the wife.
Oh, my goodness.
She didn't even hear it. She smashed the glass on the table. She didn't put it down. But you know what? I can't.
All right, so let me ask you this question. I assume you've done similar jokes in other locations.
Yes.
Do people laugh at themselves when you point out what they are, who they are, how they are?
Sometimes, most of the time, they come to a comedy show. A lot of people know who they're coming to see. A lot of people don't know. We went to a comedy show. We didn't know who we were going to go see. I
would think anybody coming to see your show would know what they're in for.
But they don't always know.
Yeah.
They what used to happen a lot? They see you on Arsenio Hall or the Johnny Carson show.
They see your TV
or
set.
Comedy Central.
Yeah.
Oh, this guy's funny.
Yeah.
And we didn't know he was going to do that. He didn't do that on the Tonight Show. Well, that's because I couldn't do it on the Tonight Show. And now you can look it up on the internet. Back then you didn't know. You can. But again, I feel bad sometimes. But people, it's comedy. If you don't like it, but the fact that people get mad.
I actually have a related question to that.
Yeah.
Sincere question, because I had a couple of Creature from the Black Lagoon jokes, but I missed my chance on this.
Man.
Oh, no, I want to hear them.
No. The time has passed.
No.
But here's the thing. She goes home and is upset. It sits with her. She writes that Facebook post. I know that if I'm going back and forth with someone on Twitter, every once in a while someone will come at me really hard, and I'm like, it eats away at me. It's acidic, and I obsess about who is this person? You're a professional comic. You've been doing it for years. But does it ever sit with you?
Yeah.
Like when she writes that, we can joke about it. You can push it. You can throw it back at her. But does it sit with you ever?
It bothers me sometimes. It used to bother me more because I used to get a little bit more, in the old days when I was younger and cockier and drinking more, doing some blow before I went on stage. You get this, and
You're bulletproof.
yeah, you get people out. I was so used to being attacked because when I started out in San Francisco, I opened up for a lot of rock and roll bands, and that's how I got this pitbull of comedy, kind of get them before they get you. And I started talking fast, and Dana Carvey, Robin Williams, Kevin Pollak. There were a lot of comics that didn't want to open up for bands, so I would open up for these bands, and it was like riding a mechanical bull. You weren't going to stay on, but you wanted to get your $50. Back then, or even 25, 75, whatever. You want to get your paycheck, and you wanted to try to remain on for your 15 minutes, and they would come at you. And then sometimes they'd be fine. I'd be attacking them, and then after about 15 minutes, I realized these people they're actually having a good time. They're fine. So Bobby, relax and enjoy it. By that time, my time was up, and it was time for the band to come on. But I developed this whole persona of, people, in comedy clubs, they were more well-behaved now. Comedy clubs it was like the Wild West. There were no bouncers in the club. There was nobody patrolling the club. There's nobody monitoring it. The guy at the door would take the money. The waitress would serve the drinks. The owner would be in the back counting his money. Now, if you go to a good club like the Comedy Magic Club in Hermosa Beach, which Leno still plays, they watch everybody. It's more civilized, right?
Well, I haven't heard that. I've actually heard a little bit of the opposite, but I
think it
think
depends on the club. It does go the other way.
Yeah.
You know what?
Also depends on the comic who maybe didn't go through what you went through and doesn't have their perspective. But I'm curious about, one of the things about the internet and this whole incident we just talked about is engaging. Because I'm on the radio, Bobby, by the way. I've actually interviewed you, but it doesn't matter.
I know. I know that.
I barely do anything. I'm a disc jockey. I made one comment one night about Axl Rose. And something about Axl Rose would say this, if he didn't have a mouthful of cake. Something like that. Just a dumb joke like that.
Right.
And I got a stream of Twitter hate about fat shaming.
Oh, my God.
Because of talking about Axl Rose maybe being a little heavy on the sweets. And I don't get that often because I just don't push that envelope. I didn't even think about it as that is fat shaming. But man, it just went on and on and on.
I think it was cake shaming, Larry.
Cake shaming. No, I would never shame cake.
You know what? If I get a
I'm
fat
going
guy,
to slam down my
but
glass.
I didn't engage. I mean, I did. Now, that's a whole different deal now. Is that you've got people like that, and you did engage with her? Is that something? Do you avoid it most of the time, or do you like?
No,
to...
I go after. But if there's a fat person, and I don't want to say, overweight, some big fat fuck in the front row, I don't call them fat.
Yeah.
Oh, Bobby, that's so evolved.
I feel bad for them.
Yeah.
I actually, I feel bad for them. I mean, I have the metabolism of a hummingbird. I probably eat more than they eat. The only reason I'm not fat is because it's the one gift I have. I haven't gotten bald and I haven't gotten fat. But believe me, nobody, my daughter, my girlfriend, nobody knows how I eat, the amount of food I eat. And I could see, But then again, when I see some fat fuck sitting there eating a pizza, I go, you fat. I'm thinking to myself, you fat fuck, you would just die. What's wrong with you? I'm not going to, I would like to have everybody have health care, but if you get diabetes and they cut off your leg, I'm not paying for it, you fat motherfucker. Go back to KFC.
But Bobby, question.
Yeah.
When you
It's
when
nice
you
to see
look
you
out,
have evolved to a more sensitive.
I'm going to move
No,
on.
you're fat. Just don't have KFC. Have a salad.
Bobby,
What? Yes.
when you're up there and I could see in that clip how hard you work, and I know I've seen you perform. You work very, very hard up there.
Yes.
When you look down and you see someone with their arms crossed, not laughing,
Yeah.
does that hurt your feelings? And you want to just sort of strike out at that person?
It depends. Sometimes I ignore them, but it's hard to ignore them.
Do you try and win them over? I mean, are you trying to get them on a little bit on
He
your
failed.
side?
I can't even win you guys over. The stupid podcast that I've been listening to. Try to win the sound guys over. Nobody's laughing. They're sitting there over there drinking coffee with their hands folded.
They have no emotions.
I know.
They're dead inside.
I'm doing
Don't look over there.
I know.
Those guys.
But that gets that other level too. I mean, there's that Dave Attell stuff, which I don't know if you do too, of the I'm going to try to turn them against me, just so I can win them back, which is a whole thing that you guys do.
See that?
I did that. Rich Scheidner, I never forgot about this. A great comic and a good friend. I went on Facebook and he told his story, and I don't remember the exact details. How the audience, I did something with the C word, and I said, "Watch me piss off this audience and get them back." And I don't know what I did, but he said it worked. And I don't do it anymore. I just want to make them laugh, and I want to go home. Bill Hicks, the great Bill Hicks, when he was a young kid, he was like 19 or 20, was my opening act, and he was great, brilliant guy. And I remember that Hicks used to sometimes try to walk an audience and try to piss off people.
Right.
And I would do that once in a while. If it was a horrible crowd, I like to try to use guys that I find really, really funny opening for me. Because I use that as a gauge. If they're not doing well, I go, this audience is fucked up. There'll be people sitting there. But then once in a while, that guy sitting in the front row staring at my opener, who's a kick-ass comic, and then I get up there, he was waiting for me. So and then he's cracking up. Sometimes they're waiting for you. Sometimes, I've also had people, it's happened about a year or two ago. There was a guy in the front row wasn't laughing at a thing, and I went after him, and his wife or his kid or whoever was sitting with him he goes, that's my father. His wife died last week. They've been married 80 years, and he hasn't laughed. I felt bad going after him. But then, when he said in the front row of the comedy, it was like he was crying at the show. And so I was talking about my wife, who was still alive at the time, it's the dynamics. It's that was the other thing, which I'm sure you were going to ask me. Why did you ask me now and get it over with about my dead wife?
So, Bobby, you know that I love.
Go ahead. The first time the producer and the guy working the board laughed, talking about my dead wife, you piece of shit, you scum. I'm going after this guy.
Bobby.
You knew if you kept trying, you'd get him.
Yeah.
You look at me. You know I love Teddy.
Yeah.
She is and was a beautiful, beautiful person.
Yeah, sure.
A very, very special person.
Yes.
So
we say special. You can't call it special because retarded people have hijacked the word. So you call my wife special. Do you mean she's retarded or she was special like in the old days? I don't even know what you're talking about.
I think special is special.
She was special.
And I read this on Facebook. So
she was special.
I'm happy
I didn't post it.
that you. I think when we suffer a loss, it's sort of a collective. I know it's your wife, but it's sort of a collective experience that Facebook allows us to share that sense of loss so that we can grieve with each other and talk about the person. And I think Facebook does offer that when we're all mourning. Some people are very private when they lose somebody, and some people post when their dad's in the hospital getting a toenail cut.
Right.
So yeah, some
Thoughts
people
and
We've all
prayers.
seen those photos.
Some people
prayers.
post
Close-ups.
Some people post depressed, frowny faces, and everybody thinks there's been a death in the family, and it was just I'm kind of
Yes,
having a blue day.
Or pray for me. We're taking the vacuum cleaner in.
Yeah, you know, when people do that, my grandmother died, my mother died. I think that's, what makes me more sad is when people post a picture of their fucking dog. They put their dog down, because I'm a dog guy, and my girlfriend's a dog lady. I'm crazy about my dog. And when people, it makes me cry when somebody goes, we have to put my dog down. You have to put, your grandmother died. The fucking old bat was 95. Give it up already. Who cares? You probably left you
Let's
a
talk
car
about
or something.
We can talk about Teddy, though, right?
What about him?
So
Whatever you're talking about.
Teddy died a couple of years ago,
It's been a year and a half already.
and you're a comedian. So how do you go out and make other people feel comfortable, like, and let them know you're okay enough to where they can laugh? It's tricky, right?
Well, my wife died, and then unexpectedly. And then 3 weeks later, I had to do a show for Woody Allen. He did a show on Amazon called Crisis in 6 Scenes. And he gave me a scene, a 7-page scene with him. And if you know anything about acting, a 7-page scene is a lot.
It's a lot.
And I had 2 acting coaches who I've worked with over the years who said, this is going to be tough for a real actor. I'm not sure how you're going to do this. Not so many.
Couldn't put your Joey Bishop out on this one, could you?
Okay. The great thing was I've been working on it for about 2 or 3 weeks before she died. I had a whole month to work on this. And when you do a sitcom or something, you had American Dad, which is the easiest thing to do because it's a cartoon. You're reading a script. You don't have to memorize anything. But to do a sitcom is tough enough, but to do a 7-page scene with Woody was really tough. And again, 3 weeks after my wife died. So it was like this, it was really difficult. Then after that, didn't have a lot of money. I had 2 gigs I couldn't cancel. And I had to go, and my whole act was about my wife.
Yeah.
So I had a few weeks to try to figure out how I'm going to do, I had other material, but how I'm going to skirt around the wife jokes. There was a lot of stuff I had to drop,
Did you want to address it? Did you?
Oh, I addressed it right away. And then Patton Oswalt, I've been dying to watch his special because his wife died
It's really good.
a few months after my wife.
Really
and he got a lot more press because he's more famous. But it was tougher for me than him because my wife was much better looking. No, I'm not saying it wasn't tough for him, but my
She
wife
was
is hotter than his
very
wife.
beautiful.
Again, you got the guys over there on this. Here's the train of comedy that these guys
I
are into.
didn't call Pat and tell him that, but I saw his manager up at the Montreal Comedy Festival said, this was a few months after both our wives passed away. And I just said, my wife's so much better looking. I know it's tough for Pat, but it's really hard for me. I think a comic would laugh at that. But anyway, but it's true. But anyway, but his wife was younger, so it kind of balances out. I'm not comparing. Anyway, no, but it was
I'm at a
difficult.
loss.
I'm curious to see what I went on, and I've done some jokes about her death, and I know Patton did too. And I got to watch his Netflix special to see how he handled it. But it's really kind of weird because it does change everything.
It does.
I feel like there's I may be getting it wrong, but I always remember a Richard Belzer story that you may know, that I think I want to say that his dad committed suicide. His brother.
Maybe his dad too, but his brother committed suicide.
The story that I remembered was that he basically they found that in the minutes they were waiting for the ambulance to show up, he just started talking to his mom and his sister or something like that in the driveway. And the thing I always remember saying is, like, I've never been funnier than those 20 minutes of just, I don't even remember what I said, but just because again, it comes from pain.
It's
we all know
humor.
that.
It's how Jews came up with humor, probably through the Holocaust, and black people during slavery came up with the blues. In times, when
that's
things are
it.
tough.
How do you process? And it's the Robert Heinlein thing, right? It's Stranger in a Strange Land. It's like, why do people laugh? Because it hurts.
Yeah, it was I saw Richard Jenny at the Laugh Factory the Friday after the Monday after 9/11, and it was all, it had to be completely 45 minutes of brand new, and nobody had laughed for 4 days.
Right.
So the laughter was explosive. I don't know how this guy came up with that material about something when we thought nothing would ever be funny again.
Well, and the thing about, Gilbert Gottfried, when he did the aristocrat joke, and, right after 9/11 with the plane going to the Empire State Building, I got to get my plane, and then Louis C.K., jacking off between the 2 buildings, the first tower, the second tower. Comics come up with this stuff. That's why that whole thing, too soon,
Right.
I remember when my wife was dying, we didn't know she was dying, but my daughter and I were sitting in the hospital like 2 o'clock in the morning, and in the waiting room, the movie Pet Cemetery was on. And it was really a weird movie to be showing because about the dead kid. It's weird. I mean, they just had TBS on. So we're sitting there 2 a.m, not know if my wife's going to live or die. And they're playing Pet Cemetery. And I said to my daughter, you know, if mommy doesn't make it, we should bury her in a pet cemetery because she might come back normal.
Wow.
And I said, I got to leave that in the act.
Yeah.
And my daughter laughed, you know. And now I'll do it. People, if they don't laugh, it's 'cause people don't know what I'm talking about because they didn't read the book or see the movie. You know?
Yeah, do your homework. Come on.
You know, so you come up with stuff. So I have some jokes about my wife's death, you know.
Did that help? Did you? I mean, there were comics who go through tragedy like that, and they say that that's their biggest therapy is writing that material and then doing it on stage and getting it out. Because, I mean, have you been one of those guys where going on stage and doing comedy is therapy?
No,
That's your therapy?
I went to the Bunny Ranch the next day.
That's all right.
Yeah, that worked for me.
All right,
Comedy
good.
was secondary.
Hey, whatever it takes.
No, you know, it's kind of I've never been there. But the week after my wife died, Dennis Hoff, you know, owner of Bunny Ranch, God bless him, called me up. Maybe it's 2 weeks. He said, "Well, Bobby, you know, you should come up." And I go, "It's okay." And then I have a girlfriend. Did I ever tell you how I met my girlfriend?
No, I don't know. I haven't met her.
Well, I'll tell you the details off the air. Not that anybody's watching this shit, but
That's a good point.
Yeah.
there was a good friend of mine that passed away, and I don't want to mention who he is right now, but I've known him for 40 years. And I never met his wife. They've been married for about 15 years. And I went to a service 3 months before my wife died. And I spoke at the service. There were a lot of comedians speaking and famous comedians. And she decided to put me on at the end because I was his favorite comic, which I guess is nice. But I gotta follow this guy. But I made it. It was like a show to me. Like the comedy star. How long's he doing? He's supposed to do 15. So, and I never met her before. Very pretty woman. And I met her at the funeral. My wife and I went back to their house, and you know, had something to eat, which the Jews will do.
Yeah.
And then my wife passed away 3 months later, and I called her up because she lives right up here in Mulholland, 5 minutes away. And I said, we should meet up at Vibrato, which is, you know, the local shopping center. But we should meet at the Jazz Bar and have a drink. And we did. And I've been seeing her ever since. She'll be over at my house. I have dinner cooking right now, waiting for her. We've been together for a year and a half.
That's beautiful.
I met her 5 months after my wife died. Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in. Just when I thought I was going to have freedom. Because it was getting scary. You know, you live here by yourself, you know, sometimes. But to live in my house, after being married for 30 years, being in a house by myself, I didn't know when the air conditioning was on too high or the music was too loud. Or I've had too much wine or too much garlic. I didn't know when I was farting. I didn't know when I was driving too fast. My life was spinning out of control.
Teddy was very thorough.
Yeah, Keith Richards called me up. He was worried about me. You see? That's how you come up with the jokes.
It's just beautiful to watch you work.
Thank you.
So the name of our show, Bobby,
I don't care about
is
your show.
is Things I Found Online, and we have a couple new features we're going to introduce with you, with help from you. Is everybody excited?
I have to help.
John and Thomas, do you guys have the attachments? Because these are going to require attachments, which I sent them in the email on the internet. So
I resolved to have no attachments
the
in
new
2018.
features, the first one is called What is Trending? And this is where we look at something that was trending on Twitter during the week and we say, what the hell was that?
Right.
And does anyone know? So Tide Pods, hashtag Tide Pods. Does anyone know why that was trending?
Tide Pods.
Tide Pods. Anyone?
No.
Bzz, your time
Because
is up.
kids a little older than my daughter have been challenging themselves to eat them and see what happens.
What is a Tide?
It's like a little laundry detergent pod that you would put in the
Seriously?
laundry.
Yeah.
And it looks like candy, Bobby, but it's not candy.
Oh, right.
And it makes you throw up and feel crappy, and so you're
And
supposed
if
to
you
like,
put it on YouTube, you're...
Wait. Kids eat it as a challenge?
Yes.
Eat this and then film yourself throwing up on YouTube.
And it's the reason we've asked you here today, Bobby. So, Dina, if you could bring in the...
Do we have any Tide Pods?
You know what? I hate to say this, but I don't.
Okay, so you want to put Clorox on it,
Oh, what?
and then it will snap, crackle, and...
You would think intuitively you would know not to put that in your face, right?
Well, don't you think, though, that every generation there's something stupid that kids will do?
No, I hope those kids die.
Okay.
And I hope you die.
Well, it is...
And people go, what if that was your daughter? It wouldn't be my daughter. She's not that stupid.
No, she's very
Were
brilliant.
you dare do anything when you were a kid like that?
Yeah, you
Like-
know what I did? I did drugs. I snorted coke. I skin popped heroin. I did a lot of LSD. Was that stupid? Kinda, but it got you high and it was fun. This is just stupid. Dumb fucks.
Well, they're making recipes. They're
I'm going
to say I'm totally against all of this, but if my daughter in a few years came to me and said heroin or Tide Pod, I might go, eat the Tide Pod.
Yeah, have a Tide Pod. They're pan frying them. There's
I can't listen to this. I hope they die.
Is that what you got cooking over at the house right now?
I killed my wife. No. My girlfriend I like for now. No.
All right. So would you now?
I made my wife Tide Pod Parmesan.
So
that was a final.
And then something happened. I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You have a young girl. Now, when something like this kind of hits the internet and you're like, oh, is that something we have to talk about? Do you think, oh, do I have to say, honey,
don't eat detergent?
Don't eat the laundry detergent, sweetheart. There's other ways to become famous, like marrying a Kardashian.
Right. No. I'll let you finish.
Oh, no, I think I'm done.
No, honestly, so my Tide Pod, I feel like...
She's done. Don't encourage her. She's done.
No, I mean, I think with things like that, she's a pretty responsible kid. I'm not worried about it, but I am worried. We've talked about this, like social media stuff, her Instagram, like what kids will do for attention. She's not getting she will not eat a Tide Pod, but I worry about other ways that they will feel pressured to try to do stuff to get attention.
You know what? Like become a stand-up comic.
Like that.
I think they're better eat the Tide Pod.
Now, do you guys know that Bobby's daughter is in a girl band?
Well, she was. One of those girls killed herself too.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No. Well, two. Yeah, no, she hung herself. Yeah, after right after Robin Williams did, and then her band still kind of is called GRL. Yeah, they're doing fine. They're
called GRL.
Well, they were called GRL.
Or are they going to rebrand?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not worried about her. I'm just worried about me. I got to rebrand. By the way, lesbians, if you're listening or watching, I love you.
That's
Bobby,
right.
I think
it's
they,
good to
I
make
think
that
they tuned
point.
out a long time.
It's really good.
I'm sorry.
Very good to
I
make
think we
that
lost
point.
them.
You know what?
early on.
You know what's really interesting though? When in the old days at the other cafe in San Francisco, there were these angry lesbians that were just awful. And over the years, I've had lesbians. I was going to say dykes, but you've taught me that you can come to my show, and they're just great. They're just great.
Yeah, I think they can turn either way really quickly as a group. And I've noticed this doing stand-up too, where if they decide they like you, they love you. Or if they decide you've been a little bit offensive, as a group, they can be really scary.
Like that school of fish when you're snorkeling?
Yeah.
Well, I think that there's probably a white liberal crowd in there that's looking around to see, are there people laughing at this or not, and how do I feel upon the crowd mentality?
It's like black teenagers, one or two of them, then there's 10 of them, they start swarming. Then
Maybe it's any kind of group think. Is this a threat? Do we?
One of the most bizarre things, because there's no rhyme or reason to how a crowd's going to react. One of the most bizarre things ever. About 3 years ago, I played this club in Knoxville, and the only reason I took the gig is I needed one more gig to hit my American Airlines Advantage Platinum frequent flyer. It wasn't a lot of money. I go, I'm going to go to Knoxville, and I knew it was a real redneck. I was not looking forward to this club at all. Knoxville, Tennessee. And I go there, and it's like a Thursday through Sunday. The audience weren't bad. And I think Friday night, sitting up front with these two lesbians that were having the greatest time. I'm doing gay jokes, lesbian jokes, and making fun of everybody. And they're having such a great time. They brought 8 more women back the next night. There was a table of 10 lesbians. I don't know how you found 10 lesbians. It must be the whole population of Knoxville. Yeah. But Knoxville, Tennessee, 10 lesbians, and they were having the greatest time ever. So you never know where you're going to get a good audience, where you're going to get a good crowd. I think Showtime is Apollo. Black audiences are the best. They can be the best. I think they give white guys an extra minute, because they can be brutal, and they can, they don't give comics the time of day. But this white guy's got the balls like Buddy Holly, they're silent for a minute. Goes, what's this honky motherfucker doing here? And then when they see you're funny and you stand up to them and you make them laugh, they love it. They love the black jokes.
Yeah, they respect it.
They respect
All right, so our next running feature is called Feed Time, and that's where we go into our Facebook feed or our Twitter feed and find something distinctive to discuss. The first one I have is actually posted by our own Lisa Arch. I don't know if you have that. It says, so this is for us to talk about people who go on Facebook to just sort of shout out whatever they need and see if somebody has it. So Lisa posted... Anyone have clothing racks I can borrow on January 24th for about 5 days?
Oh, my God.
So when one of these comes across the transit, I'm never helpful. I always read one of those and go, yeah, don't have that. So how do you feel about that? Just like saying, before the internet, what did you do if you needed clothing racks? You couldn't go to Facebook and say, who has clothing racks? But now your first thought is, let me put that on Facebook.
Yeah, I grew up in. If you grew up anywhere in a small town, and being a radio guy, you would hear the Trading Post. Lots of small towns had that thing where they spent like 2 hours in the middle of the day. It's like, it's the Trading Post on KEWB. And somebody call up, I have a furnace. I just replaced it. It's still in good working condition, and it's out on my front porch. And they would give their address, and somebody could just go by. And they would do that for 2 hours, and they would never not have calls. I've got clothing racks. And I'm willing to give them up. Can somebody loan me? I'll meet me at the church on Sunday. It's amazing.
That's super helpful.
So this is basically the.
I don't know if Lisa found clothing racks using that method.
I actually have 3 clothing racks in my garage.
Would
my
you
wife
please
left
send her a friend request?
That my daughter
it's
left there.
She doesn't need these till the 24th, Bobby.
I'm sorry, I can't.
Yeah,
I don't want to come
Oh, wow.
I like sitting there.
I like it.
You like it?
I like it. It makes because I mean we will sell stuff. My wife and I will sell stuff on Craigslist sometimes, and I like that it makes a big city feel like a small town sometimes. And I'm saying that like I'm like I grew up in New York, so I don't have a small town to even reference. But in some romantic part of me, it's like when we're trying to put like a kid outgrows their bed, we're like, we got a bed from when they were younger, and they've got a bigger bed now when we're selling it.
Yeah.
And when a younger couple shows up and gets the bed for their little kid, there's something really sweet about like, good luck. Like, I hope it's good for you. That feels very sweet.
It's funny you mentioned Craigslist because, years ago I put some crap on there, years ago. But I have sitting in my garage this giant 1940s, this gorgeous desk that my wife had in her office. The desk was bigger than the office. She never used the office. She used the desk to pile crap up. And then she bought this really cool 60s chair that she spent a fortune to recover. And that was sitting in there. And just more crap piled up. So I'm actually, finally, a year and a half after she died, I'm clearing out the room. I had the gardener help me carry this desk. It's like 8 feet long. It's something that Al Capone would sit behind, or Lou Costello would put his feet up and smoke a cigar. And and I don't know what to do with it. So today, I put on Craigslist. I'm going, fuck, now people are going to have to come over to my house. But I don't know what to do with it. I don't want to.
But so the negative, the good thing of Craigslist is when you find a match and you feel like you're sort of sharing something and recycling. The bad thing is you put the desk on and someone will say, I will pay that amount of money for it. First of all, you'll put the desk on for less money than it's worth.
I did that.
And they're going to haggle you anyway and say, would you take $20? No, I won't take $20. I'm asking $400. That's fair. I will not take 20. And then someone will finally go, how about 400? Sure, great. Come on over. Then they'll come over and then they will haggle you there because they're in your driveway. So you're dealing with that. That's no good. I don't like that. And let's say they pay you for the giant desk that you had pictures of, they will guaranteed have a Honda Civic with them and will ask you for help loading it in their car or ask you if you can help take the desk apart or how are they supposed to get it home.
So I don't know what to do with the desk.
Okay,
now.
so
it's sitting in my garage. It's giant.
You're doing the right thing.
Here's what
it's
I
three
do.
times the size of that.
When I have something extremely large, I put it on Craigslist for free. And I just say, anybody who will come with a truck big enough to take this can have it. And then I give it to the person who writes the nicest letter. Here's why we need that table. Our daughter just turned 5 and she's out of her high chair. Like, if they write me a nice letter, like nice people, then they can have the desk. That they just have to come and get it because you want it out of there.
I should do with my cock something really giant that if you say something nice,
if you
can have my
if you put your cock out by the curb.
They probably have internet places for that. I don't. I get a girlfriend now.
None of us know about that.
There's some sex on the internet. You just have to.
You know what? I went from a wife to a girlfriend. I've not had any time to have fun.
This is because you don't really want to be alone. Because I
did want to. I love being alone. My brother's living with me now because he has to take care of my dog when I'm on the road because my dog's too old to put in a kennel. So but I love being alone. But he's out of town. My girlfriend never stays over because she's got her crazy dog in her house. I love being in that house by myself. It's the greatest thing ever.
It's a great feeling, isn't it?
It's great. Well, I've been alone for 35 years, so yeah, it's nice. My daughter's out of there. She's a pain. The wife's out of there. It's the greatest thing ever.
So you're never going to get married again?
No.
So this is working.
That's reheating shitty food. Why would I do that?
It's not like that at all.
I'm trying to figure that one out,
Bobby.
too.
Unless you have a caterer who's just not really thoughtful.
No, my girlfriend doesn't want to get married again.
Oh.
I'm very lucky right now. I've never been happier in my life.
Good.
It's great. I'm scared because it's fucking up my act. So I'm too happy to be a comic.
Well, you can really have some fun
You're
with.
too happy you become Howie Mandel or Carrot Top, and I love them both, but I don't want to be like them.
You do seem so positive compared to the past.
compared to last week. All right, here's another post from my Facebook feed. This is Nigel Robles, and he poses a semantics question. So making out does not count as hooking up. When did this happen? So Kirk, what was your definition of hooking up? Before you read Nigel's post, what was your definition?
I'm so far removed from anything having to do with that post, and that I can't imagine the distinction
I may
between
have to
hooking
go to
up and
Thomas.
making out. Please go to
Thomas,
Thomas. I'm out.
What's your definition
go to
of
the youngster?
I
of
feel
hooking
like
up?
it's everyone's different. Like I feel like at least for me, like my friend group, like hooking up is like, oh, like someone will be like, oh, I hooked up with so and so, and then the group of friends is like, okay, but like, how did you hook up? Like, what happened? Then you elaborate.
It requires the next question.
Yeah.
50 Shades of hooking up.
There's
It's
no
like-
oh, that's that was sex or that was just making out. Like there's
But hooking up seems to denote more intense than just kissing, though.
I
right?
don't know. Like
No,
I
no.
told Nigel because he asked me. I met him on the train. You have to take the train now to get to Santa Barbara, and I know
Oh,
him.
right,
and
right.
He was on the
Right.
train when I got on the train. So, and he asked me this question, and then later I saw it on Facebook. I think it's just something that goes beyond hanging out as friends. Like hanging out is hanging out, and then hooking up means something sexual or romantic transpired. That's
But you can also say to a friend, hey, let's hook up this weekend. And you're not implying anything other than getting together.
Yeah,
too.
there's a lot of context because I feel like in high school it's like hooking up could be like you're made out with somebody or you messed around, but then like once you get to college, I feel like when people would tell me they hooked up with somebody, it's like they went and had sex with that guy.
okay. So
Like,
the definition changes
yeah,
as you
I think
get older.
it's and then like you said, like oh we're gonna hook up with our friends this weekend. Like I feel like it's just a lot of context.
So inherent in this question could be that Nigel's now 24. So when he says, when did this happen? Maybe when you became an adult. That's when that happened.
And then when you're married in your late 40s, it's folding laundry together.
Yeah.
And that's the hookup.
Really?
It's hooking up.
Have you fold laundry with your wife?
Yeah.
You're doing well.
He
You
was
looked
like-
at me.
He's ideal.
Everything that I think I had, all the good will I'd gotten was gone in
You
that
know-
second.
Did
Gone.
you lose respect for Kirk when you
Yeah.
found out that he folds laundry?
No, because I just, when my wife was alive, we had a maid that came in once a week, did the laundry, and then my wife would do it. And I never did it. And now I don't trust the maid with the laundry, so I don't have a lot of laundry. I mean, 2 pair of socks a week, 1 pair of underwear for 2 weeks. What am I doing? So I just did laundry before I came over here, and it wasn't a lot of laundry. I did it by myself, but I never ever make the bed. I don't know how to make the bed, and the only reason I love my girlfriend staying over, like she makes the bed like she works for the Hilton or something.
How do you not know how to make a bed, Bobby?
I guess I did it. I just it's easy, but I just not good at it.
Yeah.
I like my wife. I'm remarried, and my wife and I both were used to doing our own laundry. Now we're together, and she has won out on the laundry because she doesn't trust me to put the correct things in the dryer and hang other
I don't
things
get
up.
that. Well, you
So
hang
I can't.
the hot, the cold.
So right,
I don't
so,
get it. Don't get it.
I'm not allowed to do it. But my first job ever was working at the Gap, and so I like folding clothes. I sold a jean jacket to Stephen Wright way back in the day. On Broadway and 73rd.
Is that
And I-
on your IMDb? Because that's an impressive credit.
It should be.
Pretty great.
I recognized him. I was the only one in the Gap who knew who he was. And he was very quiet and very, and I was like helping him. And I'm sitting there trying to show him like, well, this is the relaxed fit thing. And then finally I said something. He said something about the jeans. I'm like, and I think I said something like, it's all basically the same jacket. And he was like, yeah. I was like, yes, I made Stephen Wright smile a little bit.
The closest thing to laughing
That was
he would
it.
do.
I got a little
Yeah.
bit of I wasn't
I
expecting to
think
be
for
amused.
Stephen Wright, that's a laugh.
I think his thing was like, I was not expecting to be amused at this Gap right now. Then that was,
Just to digress, you want to hear a funny Stephen Wright story?
Yeah.
yeah.
So years ago, I'm with my wife and my daughter. We're coming back from Palm Desert where we had a little timeshare. And in Palm Desert, there's that famous little rest stop where they have the dinosaur. The big giant,
Right.
big giant dinosaur with a gift shop inside the dinosaur.
You
So
can't
walk-
shoot an indie movie without that.
Right, how many movies have you seen?
Yeah.
A million movies.
You have to use that.
It's
thing.
like
Right,
it's like the clown liquors, the circus
Right,
liquor
right.
with the clown in the valley.
Exactly.
So,
Bacon, yeah.
nobody knows. If you live here in L.A., all those.
Yeah,
landmarks.
yeah.
So there's a little gift shop inside of the dinosaur. So my wife and daughter, I stopped to get gas, and they go in the dinosaur to look to see what kind of stuff's in there. So Stephen Wright pulls into the gas station, and I go, "What are you doing here?" And Stephen goes, He's with a friend. They just decided to go out to Palm Springs, and they were just going to turn around and go back. I go, well, are you staying out here? He's with some young lady. He goes, no, we just had nothing to do. We just wanted to take a drive and just go out. So he goes, what are you doing? I said, I was at my timeshare, and I'm just driving home, but I'm waiting for my wife and daughter because they're shopping inside the dinosaur. And Steven goes, your wife and daughter are shopping inside the dinosaur. I don't ever think I'll hear that phrase again for the rest of my life.
We should check in with him.
Very introspective. And, wow, like I said something so deep. My wife and daughter are shopping inside the dinosaur. Probably never hear that again.
Well, here's something you may never hear again. Did you know, this is something I found online, Bobby, Kirk, Larry, Thomas, John, Dina, that when they went through Osama bin Laden's video collection after murdering him, because the best way to get to his collection is to make sure he's dead, they found the Charlie Bit My Finger video.
By the way, the only way you'll get to my browser history is by murdering me.
Yep.
That's it.
I don't know what that is.
So Charlie Bit My Finger. Oh, can you find it? That's not it.
Charlie, here it is.
There it is. So this is... Okay, turn it up. It's two babies. They're British babies.
Bit me. Ah! Oh, ouch! Ouch! Ouch, Charlie! Ah! Charlie, that really hurt.
Here it comes.
As of this report?
Yeah. So first of all, Charlie knows what he's up to. There's several things about that video that make it extremely viral. Charlie knows what he's up to. B, they're British babies.
Oh, yeah.
That makes it 100 times funnier. And C, the kid, the older one, Harry, he sticks his finger in his mouth and then he's the victim. So there's just a lot about life contained in that one little clip. So, and the fact that Osama bin Laden found it amusing, I have nothing.
By the way, there was more action in that clip than there is in the first season of The Crown. That moved better than that entire series.
So also in Osama bin Laden's video collection
Why is that written on an index card?
I brought it.
That was teed up.
No.
That was teed
it was
up.
the British accent. That was all that I could
Charlie. Okay, so P.S. Those two children are now 13 and 11 years old. That's how old the internet is. Also in Osama bin Laden's video collection, Tom and Jerry cartoons, the movies Cars and Resident Evil.
Wow.
Here, this one is going to hurt a little because it kind of speaks to his humanity. Crochet tutorials. Who has something?
Well, that could have been for one of his 90 wives.
Yeah,
you know,
it could have been. But so, if you had a moment to crochet something for Osama, what do you suppose he would need of a winter? Mittens? Maybe he needs mittens.
Grenade cozy. Something like that.
Wow.
Bobby?
A Death to America pillow? Right. I don't know.
I teed that up nicely for you. Yeah.
These guys handle that. Let them talk for a while.
Bobby, what do you need to plug? You're here. You walked all the way across the street.
You made all that effort.
I was right. It's so funny. I live across the street. I'm only 5 doors down. Up.
What's the address?
Yeah. We're all coming over.
You know what's weird about this street, by the way?
So much.
You probably don't.
So much.
It's really, because I have a lot of friends on this street. If you walk from my house up the street or down the street, 3 or 4 houses, and you go in anybody's backyard, the weather is different by a few degrees.
We have ecosystems.
But on this hill,
because the hill has topography with little pockets of weather and cloud formations meeting each other and saying, hello, let's do this.
It's really weird.
Yeah.
What do I want to plug?
Yeah, what do you want to plug?
I am plugging Super Bowl weekend. I'm taking Artie Lang's place. Artie's in rehab, I hear. Artie had to cancel, again. Artie had to cancel the beautiful South Point in Las Vegas, one of the best casinos in Vegas. It's off the strip. It's all locals. So I'm playing there. Bobby Slayton and Friends. Now we just got to find friends.
Yeah. Ooh.
You know who's opening? I'm with Joe DeRosa, who's Bill Burr's opening act. He's not even opening. He's a headliner. And Robert Duchesne is a great show. And lesbians get it. You mentioned Bobby sent me. All lesbians get $1 off.
Oh, that's going to be festive.
Wait, how do they need to bring some sort of ID? Is there a thing now?
I don't know how we're going to work that out. Maybe I should.
Just give them a code word.
If you come up to me after the show and go, I'm a lesbian, I'll give you $1.
You say, I watch the TIFO podcast.
I'll give you $1.
And I would like my $1.
Yes, and I will give it to you.
We are Things I Found Online. We miss you, Joe Cipriano, and I hope that you will like this podcast and give it a review on the iTunes, and also share it and write a comment. If you have something that you found online, tell us about it. We will feature you and your thing on next week's show. I'm Louise Palanker here with Kirk Rudell, Larry Morgan, Bobby Slayton, Dina Friedman,
That was
Thomas
great.
Hubble, John Maddox. I'm Louise Palanker. We love you, and we will see you next week. Bye-bye.